My home studio isn't just a room. It is my livelihood. It is my mortgage payment. It is my soul. I'm a 29-year-old freelance commercial photographer. I specialize in macro product photography, watches, jewelry, high-end electronics. This requires gear that is astronomically expensive and incredibly fragile. My setup is precise. I have a Phase 1 camera system, if you know, you know. I have a set of Broncolor strobe lights that cost more than my car. I have a collection of macro lenses that are so sharp they can see the texture of a human hair. All in all, there is about $35,000 worth of glass and sensors sitting in my studio at any given time. I have one rule: nobody goes in the studio. My sister, Kelly, knows this. She also knows that her son, Braden, 9M, is a whirlwind of destruction. Braden isn't spirited, he is undisciplined. He breaks things because he likes the sound they make. Last Saturday, Kelly begged me to watch him for 2 hours. Her usual sitter canceled, and she had a job interview. "Please, OP," she pleaded. "I'll pay you. He'll just sit on the couch and play his Switch. I promise." I hesitated. I really did. But she's my sister, and she needed this job. "Okay," I said. "But he stays in the living room. The studio is locked. Do not let him near it." "Of course," she chirped. When she dropped him off, I made a show of locking the studio door. It's a heavy solid core door with a deadbolt. I put the key in my pocket. I set Braden up with snacks and his game. "Don't move from this couch," I told him sternly. "Whatever," he mumbled, eyes glued to the screen. An hour went by. It was fine. I went to the kitchen to make a sandwich. I left the key on the counter for maybe 30 seconds while I washed my hands. Then, nature called. I went to the bathroom down the hall. I was in there for less than 5 minutes. While I was washing my hands, I heard a sound that made my blood freeze. It wasn't a crash. It was a topple. It was the sound of a heavy C-stand, a metal light stand, falling over, hitting something glass, and taking it down with it. Crash, thud, shatter. I didn't dry my hands. I sprinted. I ran to the living room. Empty. The switch was on the floor. I ran to the studio. The door was wide open. The key, my key, was in the lock. He had grabbed it from the counter. I burst into the room and stopped dead. The scene was a nightmare. Braden had tried to climb the C-stand to reach the lights. The stand, top-heavy with a $3,000 strobe head and a softbox, had tipped over. It had fallen directly onto my shooting table. My camera, my Phase 1, was lying on the floor. The lens mount was sheared off. The digital back, the sensor part, worth $15,000 alone, was cracked down the middle. The lens, oh God, the lens. The front element was shattered into 1,000 shards of precision-engineered glass. And there was Braden. He wasn't hurt. He was standing over the wreckage, holding one of my smaller lenses like a baseball. "It fell," he said, looking at me with wide eyes. Then, he dropped the lens he was holding, just to see what would happen. Crack. I stood there, staring at the ruins of my career, and I felt a scream building in my chest that I wasn't sure I could stop. I didn't yell. I think my brain had snapped past the point of anger into a state of cold, clinical shock. I gently but firmly took the remaining lens out of Braden's hand before he could smash that one too. "Go to the living room," I whispered. Braden ran out, fake crying immediately. "He hurt my wrist," he screamed, though I had barely touched him. I pulled out my phone and dialed Kelly. "Come back. Now." She must have heard the tone in my voice because she was back in 10 minutes. She burst through the front door, not asking what happened, but shouting, "Did you hit him? Braden says you grabbed him." "Come here," I said, standing in the doorway of the studio. Kelly marched over, clutching her purse. She looked into the room. She saw the shattered glass. She saw the twisted metal of the C-stand. She saw the Phase 1 camera, an object worth more than a Honda Civic, lying in pieces. "Oh," she said. "He made a mess. A mess." I laughed. It was a manic sound. "Kelly, look at the camera. The chassis is snapped. The sensor is destroyed. That digital back alone cost $15,000. She blinked. 15,000? For a camera? That's ridiculous. You got ripped off. It's professional equipment, I said, my voice rising. It's my job. And your son destroyed it. He stole the key off the counter, unlocked the door, climbed the equipment, and then, I watched him do this, dropped a lens on purpose. Kelly stiffened. She turned to Braden, who was peeking around the corner. Braden, honey, did you mean to break it? No. Braden wailed. I was just playing. Uncle OP left it out. It was in my way. Kelly turned back to me with a smug look. See? He was playing. It was an accident. He's 9, OP. He doesn't know the value of money. He knows not to go into a locked room. I shouted. I told you. I told him. Well, maybe you shouldn't have such dangerous things around a child, she snapped, suddenly on the offensive. That heavy stand could have killed him. Honestly, you're lucky I don't sue you for child endangerment. Leaving glass everywhere. I stared at her. The gaslighting was breathtaking. You want to sue me? I asked. Kelly, this is $35,000 in damages. I can't work. I have a shoot for a jewelry brand on Tuesday. I can't do it. I'm going to lose the contract. Oh, cry me a river, she scoffed. You have insurance. Just claim it. That's what it's for. Insurance covers theft and fire, I said through gritted teeth. It doesn't cover nephew enters room and smashes things with a baseball grip. My premiums will skyrocket. And there's a deductible. And depreciation. I am not paying you, she declared, crossing her arms. I'm a single mom trying to get a job. I don't have thousands of dollars for your stupid toys. Maybe if you spent less money on gadgets and more time on family, you wouldn't be so materialistic. Toys. I walked over and picked up the shattered digital back. This paid for your Christmas presents last year. This pays my mortgage. And you're going to pay for it. You're greedy, she spat. You care more about objects than your own nephew. Come on, Braden. We're leaving. Uncle OP is being a jerk. She grabbed Braden's hand. As they walked to the door, Braden looked back at me and stuck out his tongue. If you walk out that door without a plan to pay me, I said, I'm calling the police. Kelly laughed. Go ahead. Call the cops on a 9-year-old. See how that looks. She slammed the front door. I stood in the silence of my ruined studio. I looked at the shards of glass on the floor. She thought she had won. She thought family was a get-out-of-jail-free card. She thought I would absorb a $35,000 loss because I loved my nephew. She was wrong. I picked up my phone. I didn't call the police immediately. First, I called my business insurance agent to get the rejection in writing. Then, I called a lawyer. The silence after Kelly left was heavy, but my resolve was heavier. I took detailed photos of everything. I saved the security footage from my hallway camera that showed Braden taking the key, proof it wasn't left out in the open, but actively taken. I gathered my receipts. My insurance claim was denied, just as I expected. Willful destruction by a guest was a gray area, and since I had technically invited him into the home, though not the room, they fought it. So, I went after Kelly. I filed a civil lawsuit for $38,400. This covered the equipment, the lost income from the canceled jewelry shoot, and legal fees. The court date. Kelly didn't hire a lawyer. She showed up to court wearing a modest dress, holding a tissue, ready to play the struggling single mother card. Your Honor, she sobbed. My brother is vindictive. My son is a child with ADHD. He made a mistake. I cannot afford this. I'll be homeless. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with glasses perched on her nose, looked at the photos of the shattered Phase 1 system. Ma'am, the judge said, parental liability laws in this state are clear. You are responsible for the willful misconduct of your minor child. The plaintiff has video evidence of your child taking a key, entering a locked room, and, according to the testimony, intentionally dropping equipment. He was exploring. Kelly argued. It's just a camera. It is a tool of trade valued at more than most cars, the judge corrected. And you refused to mediate. The verdict: judgment for the plaintiff in the full amount. Kelly screamed. She actually screamed at the judge. "You're ruining my life over a picture taker." The bailiff had to escort her out. The collection. Kelly refused to pay. She texted me daily, calling me a monster, telling me our parents were ashamed of me. They weren't. They were horrified by what Braden did. Since she wouldn't write a check, I enforced the judgment. I filed for a wage garnishment. It turns out, Kelly did get that job she interviewed for. But the moment her HR department received the garnishment order, she was humiliated. 25% of her paycheck started coming directly to me. But that wasn't fast enough. I also filed a levy against her assets. She owned a 2018 SUV free and clear. The sheriff seized it. When the tow truck took her car, she called me, hysterical. "How am I supposed to get to work?" she shrieked. "Maybe you can take the bus," I said calmly. "Or maybe you can sell some of your own toys to buy a cheaper car." The aftermath. It took 6 months, but between the car auction and the garnishment, I got my money. I bought a new Phase 1 XF system. It's beautiful. The shutter sound is crisp. I also installed a biometric lock on my studio door. Kelly is still paying off the last few $1,000s. We don't speak. I missed Braden's 10th birthday, and honestly, it was the most peaceful day I've had in years. I learned that day that family is important, but boundaries are vital. And if someone breaks your livelihood, they don't get to hide behind blood. They get to pay the bill.